Alexander. Shabbat for three. Bingo!
Bud will get it for the win. Got it! He is hard to believe.
Here's Jordan.
The Magic, a 360 turn with the dribble. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath to Worthy. Slam dunk.
Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another post-game recap here in the 2022 NBA playoffs, the second round. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Diamond Ripper Podcast, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and of course to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Diamond Dropper Pod. So for tonight's episode, just the solo guy, your boy. I went to the LAFC game last night, so I'll also be talking about the two games from last night that were both blowouts very briefly at the end. My LAFC vlog is only 9 minutes. It will be coming out tomorrow at around 12 o'clock Pacific time, 3 Eastern. So make sure to check it out, 9 minutes, especially if you're from LA and curious as to what an LAFC game looks like at that new stadium. Check it out. And then, of course, you already know the deal. Turn on the notification bell for all my videos to know when I'm going live, and make sure to comment. But let's get into it tonight. Oh, my God. I don't even know where to begin. Celtics and Bucks, we're going to start out with that. Obviously, a must-win game for the Celtics. Anytime the series is tied at 2 and you have a Game 5 as the home team, that's a must-win situation. And I thought the Celtics came out the right way. They haven't been great in any first quarters, really, this entire playoffs. But it wasn't bad tonight by any means. I thought they set the tone defensively, as they always do. It's just this whole series has just been grown man basketball, very physical, two really good defenses that play two different styles entirely. Celtics are very switch everything. Bucks like to play drop coverage with Giannis and Brook Lopez and worry about or let their length with Matthews and Holiday get over and fight over those screens. And, they've been starting Grayson Allen in this series, and he didn't have a great game tonight, but he's been pretty decent overall. I don't think he was terrible tonight, but he's been pretty decent in the series. However, so the Celtics, down by 2 after the first quarter. I thought that Giannis, even though he scored here and there, I thought the Celtics did a really good job. Mainly Grant Williams when he was the defender on him. But if any time Jaylen Brown or Tatum were on Giannis, even Horford, who got beat off the dribble a good amount tonight compared to most games, he's just not laterally quick enough at this stage to stay with Giannis, really, especially when they're not letting him kind of like hand check and push back, impede progress, so to speak. But they did a good job, the Celtics, of helping, being ready to help at all times. Now, the second quarter is where the Celtics really started to gain the lead that they would end up having for the majority of the game. And they went up by double digits, and they did it on defense. It started with defense leading to offense. Not only did they draw a lot of offensive fouls on Giannis, they stole the ball. It was just good help defense, really active hands. I thought Daniel Tice, he came in. He had even a nice defensive possession on Grayson Allen. And I thought that Jason Tatum, who basically played the entire first half, it felt like. I don't even know if he sat. He played 42 minutes in the game. But he was running pick and rolls and making some really good passes. Daniel Tice, Derek White got a couple of buckets, I remember there was one play where Tatum got basically Connaughton came up to hedge in the small pick and roll. They have Derek White setting the screen. Derek White rolled, got the ball 4-on-3, lobbed to Tice. Great play. Crowd was into it. I thought Tice and Derek White were really good off the bench. But it was all started from Tatum being aggressive and also just getting in the paint, driving and kicking. And the Celtics, for the most part, were hitting their threes, at least in the first half. But they didn't shoot actually too many of them. Only 31 attempts tonight. Made 10 of them, shot 32%, so not great. But Jason Tatum was doing a much better job being aggressive. And as I said, turning defense into offense. That was a big theme for the first half. 28-19 in favor of Boston in the second quarter. They led 54-47, if I'm not mistaken, at the half. Yeah, 54-47. And in the second half, you noticed by the way, I also want to say in the first half, the drop coverage by the Bucks was really weak at times. Jason Tatum was coming off screens, and Giannis and Brook Lopez were like at the foul line. He was walking into threes, and he missed a couple of them, but he also made a couple of them. Or at least I remember one he swished coming off a screen. So we go to the second half now, right? And the Bucks tightened up the screws. They weren't just letting Tatum and certain guys just walk into threes off screens. I think Smart even got one in the first half too. Brooke Lopez and Giannis were further up much more, especially Giannis. And the Bucks got stops, which means, you know what? What's been the theme of the series, Diamond Pepper fam? When the Bucks can get stops, they can get in transition. That's when Giannis gets going, and that's when he was really scoring. But I am not going to lie, guys, despite the fact that Giannis had a good quarter and a very efficient stat line and a good game overall, even though he had 7 turnovers tonight. And I really expected more out of Giannis's. I thought he was better than this skill-wise this year. I thought he had really made major improvements skill-wise, but it doesn't seem like it. I'd heard all season long about his mid-range, and I looked at the percentages, and they were good. He shot 40% plus from a lot of areas, 18 feet, between like 10 to 18 feet and all that. And nobody respects his mid-range at all. Nobody. They're letting him shoot it all day long. It doesn't look good. His actual skill in the post doesn't look good outside of bully ball. His turnarounds don't look solid. Jump hook doesn't look great. It's just his jump hook may be the only move that it actually looks decent in terms of skill in the post, not just, he has some nice footwork here and there, nice up and unders. I'll give him that. But in terms of the shot making with the skill, jump hooks, turnarounds, all that stuff, finesse, every single play in the half court that he tries to score is head down, shoulder lowered. Every time. And, I think it's definitely hard to guard from a physical standpoint. I could see Tatum tonight ducking away from that contact. He was just reaching in when he was switched on to Giannis. He didn't want part of that smoke. Maybe also because he doesn't want to get fouled as well, or doesn't want to get fouls. And Tatum tonight, he got a couple of calls that did not go his way. A couple of times where he was shooting a jump shot and they didn't let him land. I also think he needs to stop falling so much. He's looking for the calls. And he's berating the refs. And a couple of times today, the Celtics in the second half got scored on because they were too busy talking to the officials or too busy just focusing on that aspect of the game. And they got to really, Jason Tatum especially, I do agree that the refs need to show Tatum more respect, and they needed to for a couple of years. But Tatum, he needs to not fall into this whiny category. Because the thing about Giannis is, yeah, Giannis gets away with a lot. He barrels through people. But it's hard to officiate guys like that. There are definitely times where Giannis gets fouled, doesn't get called. And the one thing I've noticed about him is he doesn't really complain much at all. He may say one thing when he gets back. And that's one thing that's really good about him. But yeah, overall, Giannis, I'm still not sold on his offensive scoring bag. Like, I know he won the championship and he did it that one time. But let's be honest. If we want to go back and look at my recaps for those games, because they're there, that's what I love. I can always go back to my recaps and the receipts. Not only was he hitting those skillful points, those jump hooks, those turnarounds a little bit more, Ayton was not able to defend him very fairly. He couldn't do anything in terms of putting hands on him. So then he was getting into foul trouble, and then the Suns had nowhere to go besides that. This year with JaVale McGee, that won't be the case. Now, I think Giannis is still the best player in the NBA. I'm standing by that. I think he is. But I don't think that if we were playing, like I was talking to my friend about this today, if we were playing 2000s basketball, I think Jokic would be better than him in that style. And I think you can still argue Jokic is better now, but I just think that Jokic can be attacked in space in this era in a way that Giannis can't. And in the 2000s, you don't have the same space. So that wouldn't really happen to Jokic unless you're playing like the 7 seconds or less Suns, in which case Jokic would dominate them offensively. So in the 2000s, Jokic's skill would combat things better than Giannis. They would just build walls on Giannis and they wouldn't have the spacing that he has now. He would have to have some sort of a mid-range or a skill in the post at a different level. T-Mac was right with what he said, but everybody's so caught up in their feelings and doesn't know how to contextualize different eras and was like, yeah, T-Mac's hating. He's never even been out of the first round. He's talking about the schemes of the 2000s, the fact that you can pack the paint, you don't have the same shooting. If Giannis is the traditional 4, he's not always playing with a stretch 5. Brooke Lopez wasn't even like that when he was on the Nets, when he was the all-time leading scorer for the Nets. He became like that with the Bucks to spread the floor for Giannis. He started shooting threes a little bit with the Lakers, but that was because everyone started shooting threes. He only did it to assimilate to the league, to change with the league, to evolve, so to speak, with the league. You know what I'm saying? That's not how the game was played, and not every single wing was a shooter. Sometimes they'd be 18 feet away, which is different sort of spacing in itself as well. So I'm not saying Giannis wouldn't be great. I'm not going to go as far as to say what Oakley said. He would be a bench player. That was just extreme hating in my eyes by Oakley. But Do I think he would be able to be the best run a championship team with this exact style he plays? No, I don't. Especially in that era, everybody was stronger. Everybody wants to talk about bigger, faster, stronger. That only applies to guards, really. And not really, I wouldn't say faster. I'd say there's bigger and stronger, the guards in today's game. But in terms of the overall picture, fuck no. These small ball lineups are cupcakes back in the 2000s. You're playing with big ass grown dudes, people that were fucking overweight at times. So Giannis can't just barrel through like that in the 2000s. So, by the way, but that doesn't matter because he didn't play in the 2000s. So it doesn't fucking matter. I'm just saying in the sake of that time, that kind of argument, I think Jokic would be better in the 2000s because he also would not get exploited like that in space the same way. So his limitations, or should I say his negatives, wouldn't really be negatives in the 2000s. So that's how I feel about that. As for what's happening in this era, Giannis is the best player to me, even though all that shit I said about him just now. And that's not to take away from the way he ended up playing in the end. The fourth quarter was a doozy, but by the way, before I get into the fourth quarter, I can't forget that Jaylen Brown was just awesome in the third. He was starting to get going, hitting his jumper. I thought that the Celtics, the Jays especially, were much better in not neglecting the mid-range game today. And Jaylen Brown did a pretty decent job of getting a little bit more mid-range shots. Yeah, I'm looking at his shot chart right now. He made 2 mid-ranges. Shot about 5 if you count right inside the free throw line as mid-range. But he got a nice his shot diet wasn't bad today. Just a lot of threes, if you ask me. A little too many for my liking. Actually, not really. It looked like more on the shot chart, but he only shot 7 threes and he made 3 of them. So that's actually acceptable. Anyway, fourth quarter, though. The Milwaukee Bucks. It started with Pat Connaughton. He made 2 threes. But the Bucks went small, their own variation of a small lineup, and it was Pat Connaughton, Drew Holiday, Wesley Matthews, Giannis, and Bobby Portis. And the favorable matchup was really Connaughton and Bobby Portis, and they tried to go at them a lot. And when Connaughton was on guys like Jason and Jalen, the Bucks were doing a good job helping, getting out to shooters. You know, they have good length with that lineup with Wes, Drew, Giannis. And Portis is decent moving his feet, and they were forcing the Celtics to start to play a lot of ISO ball. Because that's what happens. A lot of people say, oh, you know, a lot of people, because they don't see it, they don't really know the schemes of the game. They try to say, oh, it was just all ISO ball down the stretch. You heard that with the Clippers. You used to hear that with the Oklahoma City Thunder with Westbrook and KD. You heard that with the Nets against the Celtics. Well, now the Bucks are playing the Celtics at their own game. Switching everything forces ISO ball because you're not getting the advantages coming off screens that you normally would. Does that mean you need to just play iso ball with your best player? No, you can still move the ball. But when you switch everything, that tries to blow up that kind of stuff. So you're forced to go to your best player and try to mismatch hunt. And that's what can cause stagnant offense sometimes at the end of games for a lot of teams. But the funny part is you don't say that about the Bucks when it comes to Giannis and Drew Holiday, because if you really watch the series closely, they're going ISO almost every time down the court. But because they're so good at it and they put so much pressure on your defense and play so physical, people don't seem to see it. And plus, because they push the ball whenever they can. And Drew Holiday, what the crazy part was about him, he wasn't even having a good shooting night at all. He was taking a lot of bad shots like he was in game 4, quick shots. But the funny part is he just got better as the game went on, didn't he? And that's the sign of really great players. And time to put some respect on Drew Holiday's name at a different level. I hope next year he makes the All-Star team because it's just not fair for him to not make the All-Star team. I know he had some injuries this year, and his play translates much better to the playoffs because he's an isolation shot creator, and he plays bully ball, and he's an amazing defender that when the refs swallow the whistle a little bit more, he can be even more effective. And Drew Holiday, like if you don't think he's an all-star, the caliber player, like he doesn't have an all-star impact, you wouldn't see an all-star if it smacked you right in the face, because that kind of play, that two-way play, like we need to have serious conversations about guys like Kyrie and Drew, because I'm not saying that, all time. I think Kyrie is more unique than Drew. He's one of a kind. But right now, with all the baggage that Kyrie Irving comes with, would you really rather have Kyrie Irving as your second or third best player on your team, or Drew Holiday? Because if Kyrie Irving's bricking shots, how else is he impacting the game? Drew Holiday's inefficient every other night, damn near. But this motherfucker plays amazing defense. Amazing. And I love how he continues to be aggressive. But so with the switch everything, I thought that the one thing that the Celtics really did wrong, they went away from Jaylen Brown too much. He was having a really good game, and they just went away from him. And I think Tatum actually played pretty decently down the stretch, even though he ball pounded a little too much. But he actually got to, so I even made a reference to Kobe. I was like, that's Kobe. I always say that, Tatum loves Kobe, but sometimes he picks up some of the negatives of him, which is, well, honestly, not really. The negatives of Kobe was like, yeah, shooting some bad shots, but Tatum's bad shots are like just a bunch of contested threes. Like Kobe would shoot double teamed 18-footers, things like that. But like Tatum has the space that Kobe just didn't have. So if Kobe was playing in this spacing, he wouldn't settle. He wouldn't shoot nearly as many bad shots. Like he would shoot contested mid ranges, but like other than that, he would be able to get the step and blow by guys for fun now. Like it'd be a lot easier for him. He knows that, or he knew that. But Jace, and Tatum also has size that Kobe didn't have. But what I liked about him in the good Kobe sense today was he actually caught the ball at the mid-range area where you don't need to take that many dribbles. That's the whole fucking point. That's why Michael Jordan and Kobe understood that. And a lot of players in the past understood that. The only difference is the game is further out today. So it's a little bit different and weirder when you start your move there. You just got to fight for it. You just got to go to your spot. And it's much easier from the wing. The one thing I noticed about Tatum is he liked to do it from the free throw line, which is a little tough because it's a little more congested around the middle. But he was making his shots. He hit 2 jumpers. And when Al Horford hit the putback dunk, he made it 105-99. Guys, I thought that was the game right there. I really thought that was the game. 2 minutes left, 105-99. And then the following happened. On the Giannis point about the mid-range, what's even more ridiculous to me I shouldn't say ridiculous, but what he needs to really take out of his game is the threes. There's this misconception in today's NBA that everyone needs to shoot threes, and yet you need to shoot threes to take that next step in your game, and you need to do it to be a complete 3-level scorer. You need to put yourself in the defense's position for 5 seconds. I don't care how good Giannis gets. I don't ever see him being a 40%, 38% three-point shooter. A 6'11", 280-pound monster gazelle that can drive and lower his shoulder and move you 10 feet back. What do you think as the defense if he's shooting threes? Oh, man, I get to rest this possession. Oh, what a bail. Thank God he shot a 3. That's what it is for every team. And the real players, I guarantee you, will tell you the same thing. And coaches. You breathe a sigh of relief when he takes that. I had somebody in my Twitter comments today talk to me about, well, he's tired. He can't just drive in every time. Move the fucking ball. You don't need to shoot a bad shot. So when you can't get your shot, your excuse is to shoot a bad shot in the middle of the game, second quarter. Like the shot clock was winding down. You had no choice but to shoot a 3. I just think he can take that out of his game. I don't care that he made that big one I'm about to talk about. I don't give a shit that he made that. I just don't think it's necessary for him. Not everybody needs to shoot threes. Not when you can get everything at the rim. And then I'll say like, oh, Michael Jordan didn't shoot that many threes, or Shaq didn't shoot that many. Shaq didn't shoot threes at all. All these big men. And Giannis is the height of a big man. And they're like, it's a different era. No excuse. We've seen people dominate. I've talked about, you can go to a lot of lives, certain guys dominating without the 3, and he's blessed with that size. It's a bailout. But I think it was on an offensive rebound or something, and Giannis got the open 3 and made it after missing all the threes he'd shot all night. He made the biggest 3 he shot, which is just a sign of a legendary, just a big time player. Cuts the deficit in half. Celtics go to an ISO with Tatum. I think it was Connaughton that he had on him, and honestly, he could have tried to post him up and take him from a better spot. He got forced into a contested mid range. And he missed. Giannis got the rebound. Bobby Portis got a runner, missed the tip. Celtics got the ball back, and this is where it all went south. Now, I haven't talked much about Marcus Smart in this game, and I actually thought he was playing a really good game, typical Smart this season, but he just maybe had 2 minutes, less, honestly, about a minute. That 1 minute may have changed his whole season and potentially, I don't mean to sound dramatic, but his career in ways. Because if the Celtics don't win this series, I don't see them moving on from Smart, if we're being real. I don't. But the thing about Smart is, now I'm going to get into more specifics here in a second. So he comes down the court, he turns the ball over, just going a little too fast when, Don't need to. I don't think it was not necessarily too fast, but just he forced it. He ran into a crowd and lost the ball. And then Drew Holiday on a really nice pass from Bobby Portis. Because Bobby Portis, I remember now, he got to the basket on the previous play and he airballed a layup because he didn't realize how close he was to the basket. He got a semi-open three in transition and he passed it up. Gave it to Drew, who made a three to tie the game. And again, with Drew having a tough shooting night, and he hit the big shot. And then Ime drew up a curl to get Tatum going to the basket, and it worked. Tatum got to the line and made both. So I actually thought Jason Tatum, I don't think he was that bad in the fourth at all. Put the Celtics up 2. And then Giannis got fouled by Grant Williams, made the first, missed the second. And then Bobby Portis got the offensive rebound and put it back in. What do I always say, Dime Dropper fam? The famous quote from the Godfather, Pat Riley: no rebounds, no rings. And offensive rebounds kill in the playoffs. But offensive rebounds on free throws in the last minute of a game definitely kill in the playoffs. And what happened was Jaylen Brown was the one that was boxing out Bobby Portis. Marcus Smart came from half court, got a hand on the ball, but could not hold on to it. Jaylen Brown, it went through his hands, and Bobby Portis caught it from behind and scored. I mean, it's just a nightmare situation. And then on the last play of the game, you're thinking, where's it going? Jaylen hasn't touched the ball in a while. He's only taken 2 shots in the fourth. Jason Tatum is the one that's kind of got the closest thing to a hot hand. It looks like Jaylen Brown was supposed to set a screen for Marcus Smart, and he stopped Jaylen Brown. He didn't really set one at all. And I don't know if that was by design to set a fake screen. It looked like Smart was supposed to take the screen. That's what it looked like to me. I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me in the comments if you think differently. But Marcus Smart gets the ball in the corner. Now, usually you don't see, unless the guy is wide open, a play to draw a drawn up play to win a game off a timeout for them to catch the ball in the corner where you can get trapped. But they got the ball to Marcus Smart in the corner, and he saw an opening for a second, a lane to the basket. And, the urge that he fought off in game 1 of the Nets series to shoot that 3, he didn't fight that urge this time. He said, we're down by 1. He went to the basket. He actually created separation on Connaughton. He saw Connaughton, too. He was like, oh, it's Pat Connaughton. I'm going to go to the rim. There's no one there. And out of nowhere from his blind side, that man again, Drew Holiday, from behind. Unbelievable play. He then throws it off of Marcus Smart. They foul Pat Connaughton. He makes both free throws. And then with no timeouts left in 5 seconds, Horford gives the ball back to Smart. And Drew Holiday strips Marcus Smart at half court as the Milwaukee Bucks steal and stun the Boston crowd. 110-107 to take a 3-2 lead with Chris Middleton out and 1 game to win in Milwaukee. Very similar to how they won the championship last year. I'm not going to lie, Celtics fans. I got a couple of texts tonight from friends, Celtics friends. This is as brutal a loss for the Celtic franchise maybe since 2012 against Miami, that game 6 that LeBron had. Seriously, I think, because that was the last real chance the Celtics had of winning the championship. 2020, they weren't beating the Lakers. And 2018, they were getting swept by the Warriors. That was pretty brutal tonight. I think it was worse than 2012 because when LeBron plays a game like that, there was just not much you could do. He was just on a mission that night. Whereas tonight, you had the game in the palm of your hand. I can't believe that happened. It's crazy because the Celtics played so well all season. They're still one of the best teams in the league. I honestly think they do have tendencies of a championship team, but it just reiterates how hard it is to win championships. Why these big moments, the plays under pressure, matter. And as great as Marcus Smart is, and this is what I was going back to saying about Smart, it's really live by Smart, die by Smart. Because Smart's one of those players that he's so impactful, you can't just sit him on the bench. You need to have him out there because he will win you a game. Just like the way he will lose you a game, he will win you a game. He'll make the big defensive play. He'll take the crucial charge. He'll make the big threes when it counts at times. But the thing about the championship, the playoffs, your room for error is so small. And that's why I think role players and champions that have huge roles like Smart has in the Celtics team that do win championships and multiple championships, when people say, oh, rings, just because they win a ring doesn't mean they're better, or people value rings too much, winning culture, all this. It's because I understand how hard it is to win championships because my team hasn't won. I know how hard it is. Celtics fans have won one chip since Bird, and they've had a lot of great players since then, even though they had a rough patch in the 90s. It's so hard to win championships. You need special players that understand their roles, that make big plays in big moments, that understand time and place. And I'm not fully saying that Smart doesn't understand this, but he still kind of showed those old tendencies tonight of the old Smart, of kind of biting off more than he can chew. There's no reason why the game needed to come down to Marcus Smart on offense so much towards the end, like those last couple possessions, turn the ball over and then getting blocked and then losing the ball again. Like, there's no way Tatum shouldn't get a field goal off in the last minute, or Jaylen Brown should. And by the way, how long have we been talking about Jaylen Brown when he's having good games, not getting the ball at the end? This has been a thing for a couple of years now, 3 years. The Celtics, this has nothing to do with like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown down the stretch, like going forward down the next couple of years. They're going to be a championship contender for years to come. They got to keep Ime, whatever. And I'm not writing them off totally just yet, but it's really hard for me to see them going into Milwaukee and Giannis and Drew Holiday losing in the hostile environment. They know what's at stake. They know that this is probably the real Eastern Conference Finals. Is Giannis going to lose? Because last time he was in this position, he dropped 50. So, and let me tell you this right now. If the Celtics find a way to win that game, I mean, I've seen crazier things. My Clippers went into San Antonio against the defending champs, a mentally weak Clipper team, which was we really ended up did not change the narrative in the end. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Austin Rivers, JJ Baby Dick went into San Antonio and beat the champs, the defending champs. So I've seen crazier things, and then came back and won game 7 against Tim Duncan and them. So the Celtics still have a chance, and they would show so much heart if they can pull this off, but they need to win 2 games in a row. And so far, they've not been able to do that. 2 games in a row against Giannis, 1 being on the road. It's going to be very hard. It's just crazy that all the hard work the Celtics did, and even without Middleton, you got to give so much credit to the Bucks, Drew Holiday and Giannis especially, for being able to pull this off. It's been almost all of them ISOing all series long against the switch everything defense, and they still haven't got people to really point out. I mean, actually, no, Charles Barkley and some people have pointed out that it's just Giannis and Drew ISO, but that's what they forced you to do. And credit to them. And you know what? But you know what the problem is when you switch everything, and this is the problem that my Clippers have when we go to our small lineup too. Cross-matched on the offensive glass. And that's where the Milwaukee Bucks really won the game. And Ime Udoka said that in his post-game presser. 49 rebounds for the Bucks, 36 for the Celtics, 5 offensive rebounds for Boston, 17 for Milwaukee, 7 of those from Bobby Portis alone. So that right there, how many times? 33-21 in favor of Milwaukee in the fourth. That right there tells you everything you need to know. And I've been saying it all series long. I mean, all playoffs long. Rebounds in the playoffs, totally different than regular season, especially in this era. In this era, regular season, a lot of times, it's so many threes. People aren't really playing defense a lot of the times, just long misses. It's just playing catch. But in the playoffs, it's a little bit more strategic. You got very specific lineups, some small, some big. It's a grown man's game. Every possession counts. Every possession counts. And when you get killed on the offensive glass this way, it's very hard to win. And the Celtics may have just blown their season in 1 minute. And it's large reason because of Marcus Smart. Live by Smart, die by Smart. How many times have we seen, Smart not knowing to quit shooting threes in various playoffs, making those little bonehead plays? It's tough, man. It's tough with Smart. He's one of those guys that gives you so much good, but does the bad outweigh the good? It doesn't. But the thing is, in the playoffs, can he have such a big role? I used to think this about Patrick Beverley at times, the same similar way. And Smart's a much better player than Bev. But I used to think that way about Bev at times, that I love how much great he does. It outweighs the bad, but you need very specific role players that don't do dumb shit to win chips. Like, I'm serious. They can do dumb shit occasionally, but when it's time to win, they got to know when to not do dumb shit, or they got to be not good enough to the point where your coach can take them out, no problems. Smart's not in one of those in that category. He's too good. He doesn't play badly enough to get out of the final 5 minutes because he'll still make a huge defensive play. Anyway, let's talk about the lines. 8-man rotation for the Bucks. 13 minutes for George Hill. He didn't even have a shot taken, so nothing to say there. Pat Connaughton, another fantastic game. He has been so good. Pat Connaughton, actually, his high school is right next to my boy Will's house in Danvers, Mass. He's a local kid from Massachusetts, and he has given his home state team the business. 13 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep. Bobby Portis, he made huge plays down the stretch. 14 points and 15 rebounds. As I said, 7 of those offensive rebounds. Made all his free throws, 6 of them. 4 for 14. Didn't shoot well, but huge impact on the game in the end. And then the starting 5, Grayson Allen, 8 points, 3 for 7. Wes Matthews, 9 points, 3 for 9, but made 2 threes, I believe, in the second half. I think it was in the fourth, actually. Brook Lopez only played 20 minutes, wasn't his game. Drew Holiday, 9 for 24, but 4 for 7 from 3, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Just won the game for them in the end. No other way to say it. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, 40 points, 11 rebounds, 7 turnovers, 16 for 27 shooting, 2 for 5 from deep. Wow. Okay, so he made another. Okay, so he made one earlier, actually. I'm tripping. 6 for 10 from the line. But Giannis, just, he got the job done. There's no other way to say it. For the Celtics, they shot 51% from the field. Daniel Tice was 5 for 5, 11 points in only 11 minutes. Maybe they should have gone to him a little bit more in the second half. Peyton Pritchard, 4 points, 2 for 3. Only 10 minutes played, though. Derek White, I thought he played really well. Really well. Made all the right plays. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks on 4 for 5 shooting. Starting lineup, Grant Williams, 0 for 3. Didn't get that many shots off, but he played some good D. 0 points for him, though. 31 minutes played. 38 minutes for Smart. 15 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, a block. 6 for 11 shooting, 3 for 5 from deep. 3 turnovers, just such a tough ending for him. Horford, 4 for 7 from the field, played 41 minutes. 8 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Jaylen Brown, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 for 19 shooting, 3 for 5 from deep. And then Tatum, he was very aggressive. 34 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 12 for 29 shooting, but he did still settle for too many threes for me. 11 threes. He was 2 for 11. I just thought that's too much. He needs to, that's one of the big reasons they still continue to sometimes not max. He doesn't maximize how good he could be. He just falls in love with that 3. But that's it for that game. The other game, oh Lord. There is not much to say except for the Warriors did the classic, we're just going to win in game 6 attitude. They didn't come out and compete. They got blitzed at the end of the first quarter. And credit to the Grizzlies, they literally made every shot tonight, it felt like. They were just on fire. And I said it last episode with the Great. The Grizzlies, 2 things they do better without Ja. I'm not ready to say that they're better without Ja. If they win this series, though, I will say it. They actually are better. But the thing about them is they move the ball better because the ball doesn't stick with anyone. And that's what I always say. Pros can hit shots if they move the ball enough and just move without it a bit and compete on the defensive end. You always have a chance to beat any team. Move the freaking rock. That's what I was saying all season about the Lakers at times. And people are like, oh, they don't have anyone to create shots. Yes, they do. They have enough players. If you move the ball and you move it fast, you'll create shots in today's game. And the Grizzlies were great. And the thing about the Warriors, though, is they switch everything all the time. And, Kuminga was starting again tonight, and that's something they're going to have to scrap because it's just not working out very well. But the Warriors switch everything all the time. And tonight, the Warriors were getting into the paint with no resistance at all. It was just like a straight line drive. They were getting whatever they wanted. And finally, Desmond Bane had himself a game. They were just lights out. 18 for 41 from deep for Memphis. Desmond Bane, 6 for 12 shooting, 21 points, 4 for 6 from deep. He was having himself a night. And the plus-minus numbers are just staggering for the Grizzlies starters. It's a joke. And what's crazy is I actually turned on the game and Klay Thompson actually had a good shooting night. Like he was the only one actually getting buckets. 7 for 12 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3. But I'm afraid it was kind of wasted on not the best night. The Grizzlies scored 9 points in the last minute of the first quarter to go up by 10 and never looked back after. DeAnthony Melton hit 2 threes or 2 jump shots. The Warriors just, again, with the turnovers, 22 turnovers. They got killed on the offensive glass. This was much more of a Brandon Clark kind of game that we saw against Minnesota. 11.7 rebounds in just 14 minutes for him. Kyle Anderson had 9 points in 19 minutes, and they were just destroyed. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 21 on 6 of 10 shooting, 4 for 6 from deep. They went on a 17-0 run in the second quarter, and Mike Brown didn't call timeout. I even saw Mike Brown looking at his coach, at one of his assistant coaches, like, you want to call it now? Like, he just wasn't sure. I mean, I'm not going to blame too much on a coach because I always say that the schemes and everything are preset. Players got to execute. But Mike Brown wasn't doing himself any favors. You know, they need Steve Kerr back, but they may not get Steve Kerr back. They may need to win game 6 with Mike Brown as coach, and they shouldn't need to be babied at this point or coached like that. They're proven champs. They played together. You got to win one game. They got embarrassed tonight. They didn't come out. They didn't try. That was not effort to me. 22 turnovers. And Steph Curry, you know, by the way, the Grizzlies switching everything, and Brandon Clark was doing a great job moving his feet. You know, Dylan Brooks today as well, 12 points, 5 for 13, shot a little bit better. Tyus Jones was amazing. And this is another thing about the Grizzlies. When they don't have Ja, nobody is there to be hunted on defense. Teams go at Ja. They put him in the pick and roll, and he sometimes just doesn't really try very hard on that end. Tyus Jones, he plays really hard on defense. They have less liabilities on D when Ja's not there. So that's something that is clear and apparent to me. Tell me what you think in the comments, along with the ball movement. Again, not saying they're a better team without him, but they're showing signs they potentially may be. And honestly, this is showing me that Ja doesn't really make his teammates better. There's a difference between getting guys open shots and making them better. And I know that the Grizzlies are playing with nothing to lose, but 20-5 in the regular season, that's not normal for a team with only one star. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference, as I said, between getting guys open shots and making them better. Sometimes making guys better means you got to take a personal sacrifice, statistically or handling the ball. And the one thing John needs to really look at this summer is to try to incorporate more of an off-ball component to his game. Same with Trae Young, because that'll really open it up for everybody else to do their thing while you don't get affected so negatively. Because it seems like when he tries to defer a little bit, it's just he's standing outside the three-point line, like just chilling. Like, you know, I've seen him make some occasional nice cuts, but it's not frequent. He's not usually off the ball anyway when he plays, when he's on the floor. So that's something that needs to happen to me. That's not a harsh criticism. I think a lot of players, I think making others better is more than just getting them open shots. I think you're making spot-up shooters better, but they're clearly showing they're more than just a team of spot-up shooters because they wouldn't be able to score that many points without him if they were just a team of spot-up shooters. They need creators. They have creators, better creators than we think they have. And the Warriors, Steph Curry was never in any rhythm tonight. I thought he was poor. 4 for 10 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. And, you know, the turnovers, the guy that needs to be talked about more than anyone, Draymond Green. He talks the most. He talks the whole most. You know, he was even dancing today, that whoop that trick. That's what Steph Curry said before the game, that they were going to whoop them. They got their asses whooped. And Draymond Green was, you know, they were singing it. That was funny. And Draymond Green was dancing. Okay, it'll be okay if they win game 6. That's all that matters. But this guy, man, nobody respects his offensive ability in terms of scoring. They don't even guard him. And the thing is, he'll get in the lane. He'll get in the lane. He won't even look at the basket. It's back to that. We're back to square one with that Draymond allergic to shooting thing. 4 shots tonight and made 2. 2 of them were threes. There were a couple clips of him in the lane, wide open floaters on a 4-on-3 read. And, you know, he's making a pass to a guy that's not wide open, really, semi-open. Like, he's forcing it. And the defense knows he wants to pass. It's a tough thing to play 5-on-4 sometimes, the way that they do. And because of their offensive brilliance, they get away with it sometimes. But tonight, a night like when Jordan Poole's not going, 1 for 6, and he's really struggling right now, Jordan Poole. You know, these last 2 games for the Warriors, very lackadaisical, not stuff of champions in my eyes. A team that's been through the ringer, that's blown a 3-1 lead in the finals like this, should have much better championship habits than what I saw tonight. You know, I've seen 2 3-1 leads blown from my team alone. There's been 13 in the history of the game. I saw the 2 in my team. I saw the Warriors blow a 3-1 lead. I saw them come back from a 3-1 lead. I saw the Phoenix Suns come back against the Lakers. And one thing that a lot of them did is in game 5, they took it unserious. They had this mentality like, oh, it's game 6 at home is the one you're supposed to win anyway. But there's a difference between losing game 5 and really giving a team confidence. They didn't just give the Grizzlies confidence tonight. They gave them belief that they can come back and win the series. You don't just beat a team that badly like that. They smacked the shit out of them. Game 6 is going to be close in my eyes. If it's not, you can come back and tell me, I was wrong. But I think it's not going to be easy. They gave them too much life now. They have real belief. And I guarantee you the Warriors are going to get in their heads a little bit. They turn the ball over too much. I'm having serious doubts about them winning the championship. I'm more confident about the Bucks than ever before now. Because if Middleton comes back now, everybody else is in real trouble. But the Warriors, 22 turnovers, 5 from Draymond. He had as many turnovers as points. Kuminga, like the stats don't even matter. Curry had 14, Poole had 10. He turned the ball over Poole had 3 points, turned the ball over 4 times. I said all I needed to say about that. Like 44% shooting threes to the Grizz. The Warriors, like that was pathetic. You gave them belief. You don't play like that. You do not play like that. I love how every series is going 6 games, which brings me to the other series. So Miami and Philly, I didn't really watch this game like that, but I heard that, the Philadelphia 76ers got clamped. The Heat switched everything and finally started hitting their threes again. They weren't hitting them in Philly. 13 for 33 from deep for Miami. That's 39%. PJ Tucker made both his threes at 10 points. Every starter in double figures for Miami, which is great. Max Strus finally had a good shooting night in this series. It's taken him a second. 19 points and 10 rebounds for him. 7 for 13 shooting, 4 for 10 from 3. Another great night for Jimmy Butler, who's been electric in these playoffs. 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists on 9 for 15 shooting. And then Bam Adebayo had 12 points, 4 for 7. Gabe Vincent, they needed a big night from him. They could have used one, I should say. 15 points, 5 for 7 shooting. And then Tyler Hero off the bench, 10 points. And Victor Oladipo, 13 points. And they shot a combined 9 for 18 between the two of them, so 50% each. And then for the Sixers, 15 turnovers, 9 for 32 from deep. Joel Embiid still not looking himself. Will he look himself in this series? That's going to be tough. It's really hurt them. It would have been definitely a different series if he was healthy. Do I think they would have won? No, but I don't know that for a fact. James Harden went back. I told you guys Harden was going to revert back to normal. That was a one-off thing. 14 points for him, 6 boards, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, 5 for 13 shooting, and 2 for 6 from deep. Tobias, 5 for 14. Tyrese Maxey 2 for 10. So they got clamped up. Only shot 36.5% as a team. So big win for Miami. I said Heat in 6 before the series. I'm sticking with that. It's going to be a fun game tomorrow in Philly. I'll probably be watching if the Kings are on at the same time, though, I'm going to be watching the Kings tomorrow for sure. Big game. We can close out the series, by the way. You see me repping the hat. Go Kings, go. Huge win in Edmonton last night. Again, I couldn't really watch because of the LAFC game I was at. So that sucks. I got to tune into this Kings playoffs, man. I've been whack. I have been whack. And then the Phoenix game, I actually did watch this one. And the Suns, the first quarter was interesting that the Mavericks were winning, even though Devin Booker was getting off. But Chris Paul, by the way, he looks a little bit shook right now. Like he sacrificed a lot. He still got his 10 assists, but he was not really trying to press and like the other games. 3 for 8 for him. But it was really the third quarter where the Suns just blew the doors off. 33-14 in that quarter. Again, it was another Mikal Bridges game, a typical Bridges game. But what they did was they just dominated them on the offensive glass. Same thing as other teams. 12 offensive rebounds for the Suns, 6 for the Mavs. And the Mavs were just turning the ball over left and right in the third quarter. Luka had 4 turnovers. Brunson had 4 turnovers. And Brunson actually played well. 21 points for him. He was scoring. 9 for 17. Doncic had a good shooting night, 28 points, 11 boards, 10 for 23, but turned the ball over way too much. It just all happened at once. They started to turn the ball over like crazy. The Suns were getting out in transition, and DeAndre Ayton was dominating that small ball. Back to the old DA that we did not see in games 3 and 4. 20 points, 9 boards. Chris Paul, as I said, 7 and 10, but Booker, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 11 for 20. Devin Booker's been by far the best player in the series for the Suns, by far in this series, even though obviously Chris Paul did such a great job of winning that Pelican series without him, winning game 3 without him and game 5. That was a total team effort. But Cam Johnson was also awesome, I thought, for the Suns. 14 points off the bench, 5 for 8 shooting. And Bismack Biyombo gave some great third quarter minutes too. 7 points for him. And even they were just rolling on all cylinders, Phoenix. 12 for 32 from deep. That's 37.5%. Landry Shamet was hitting size up pull-ups. Like, it was just, they were feeling themselves. And it was a big win, 110-80, 30-point win. Spencer Dinwiddie was just not in it. Like, just looked like not like himself. 2 points for him on 0 for 3 shooting. Nothing like game 4. So I'm going to stick with my pick. I said Suns in 7, and I'm going to stick with it. Even though it could easily be Suns in 6, I'm going to believe in Luka to get this home game and force a game 7. But that's it for me tonight, guys. I only got one thing to say, and that's go Kings, go. Game 6 tomorrow. I will be live again. We got 2 game 6s tomorrow. We have not had a game 7 in these playoffs, so I need you guys to comment which series is the most likely to go 7, because we need a goddamn game 7 already. And I did say season 6, so I'm wrong on that. And I knew after game 1 I was going to be wrong on that, to be honest. But actually, no, I knew after game 3 I was going to be wrong on that. But we'll see. The Celtics, I feel bad for you Celtics fans, man. This was such a great chance to win a championship, and they may have blown it tonight. But let me know what you think. I could be wrong. I'm looking forward to it. Peace out. Have a great night. Make sure to comment on this video. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you'd like. I don't even think you can review on Spotify. And super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Now we go to the live subscribers waiting oh so patiently in the chat. Almost midnight on this Wednesday night in Los Angeles. Thank you for joining me. Peace. What's up? What's up? Wow, 22 people tonight. Holy shit. Okay. Let's see who's here. Hey, look at the crowd here tonight. Look at the crowd here tonight. My boy Phoenix Plays. He says, I told you that Milwaukee was going to eventually shoot well from 3. The quality of wide open looks they were getting were bound to fall. I still don't think it was their 3-point shooting that won them the game. I mean, I think they made him in the 4th, but a lot of it's just clutch, man. Drew Holiday and Giannis, that's just clutch. And, but you are right to an extent. Are you Scotty Barnes season on Twitter? My boy Cameron. What's up, man? Yo, Cameron, are you friends with my boy Cheyenne? Is that how you got to me? What's Gucci Dime? What's up, bro? It was good talking to you in the space today. Drew fucking Holiday. What's up, Collins? Dang, my man says Dime the GOAT. That's you. No, well, that's you, as Jordan would say. Cameron Naselli says clutch 3 to tie plus 2 crazy defensive stops. Hey, thanks, Collins. Dang, I appreciate you, man. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop dollars or dimes. Enrique Rodriguez says, what up? What's up, E-Rod? Said Celtics are trash. Them Laker fans loving it tonight. My man, Angry Lakers Fan TV. Go subscribe to my boy, Angry Lakers Fan, y'all. That's my guy right there. What's up, Dime Driver? What's up, Angry Lakers Fan? Great to see you on a live tonight, man. I hope you're still here, even though the comment you made was 35 minutes ago. Kevin Durant. Oh, what's up, Kevin? How you doing in Cancun? Firing off those tweets. Said Marcus Smart choked. Enrique says, loving it time with the LA Kings hat. You already know, bro. It's the 90s logo. You already know. I'm going to be wearing my Gretzky jersey tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. Went from Teddies to Grizzlies real quick after tonight. Memphis in 7. Calm down. They still the Teddies. They'll always be the Teddies. Hey, Jordan, what's up? Says I'm the GOAT. Okay, you are the GOAT. Mike Swisher says, Warriors should be worried. LOL. They lost the Grizzlies without Ja. Seems like a lot of teams have lost the Grizzlies without Ja. Domo Genesis. Is that my boy Domo from Twitter? If you are the Clipper fan, Domo, say what's good. Says, bro, that last 5 minutes of the game was so frustrating to watch. Facts. My guy, thank you, Cameron. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you, my guy. Really appreciate the super chats tonight, boys. Domo Genesis says Marcus Smart sold the game for real. It's tough. Kyle's takes us, should we Warriors fans be panicking? No, it's not panic mode, as Paul George once said. If you lose game 6, you definitely should panic. But it's not time to panic yet, but it's not a good sign. I'd be a little nervous if I were you. Kushi says, Yoop, I'm alive. What's up, Kushi? I don't know who that is. Phoenix Plays, he said about Giannis, he's basically a physically dominating freak. Yeah, it's true. Skill versus speed doesn't mean shit if you have an unstoppable drive. But that's my point, fam, is that in the past, it wouldn't have been an unstoppable drive. He would be unstoppable probably to still, even with hand checking, to still get by guys. But you'd see a second defender so fast. Especially in the early 2000s, you're getting walled off, bro. He can't do that against the 04 Pistons front line. Like, he just can't. Like, I love Giannis. He won't back up from the smoke, though. That's what I love about Giannis. But Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace would they would show him something that he hadn't seen before. You don't got teams with that. Those are grown men right there, man. Cameron says Bucks better close out at home. If they can, it's a coin flip who wins the series. Facts. Top River says, did Celtics blow or did Bucks make a huge couple shots? ¿Por qué no los dos? It's both, no doubt. It's always two sides to every story. Cameron Aselli says, I need Bucks Heat Part 3. Right. Facts. Phoenix says, bag doesn't mean anything. For example, Pascal Siakam is probably a more skillful player than Giannis in terms of the moves he can go to, but Giannis has that unstoppable drive you can't do shit about. Yeah, Giannis is bigger, stronger, not faster, but he's bigger and stronger. And yeah, he's just bigger, man. It's like Giannis is like a supersized Pascal. He just like Pascal's pretty strong, but Giannis, the way he goes into lowers his shoulder, bro, he creates so much space with that. Just not very skillful, but his elongated steps and his footwork, like sometimes he gets a lot of travels though, man. Like his face up mid post footwork is weak, but like his 1-2 euros and side steps on the run are really impressive. He has good footwork in that sense, but he travels a lot. I already answered your question. Who would be better in 2000s basketball, Jokic or Embiid? I like Jokic's game. I think he doesn't settle as much. I think he doesn't settle as much. And I think Embiid's durability is a problem. And it would be even more physical back then. Plus, Embiid gets a lot of bullshit calls he wouldn't get back then. I think Jokic, but I think Embiid would still be great. Someone says probably Joel. They would just passing would be limited in terms of shooters he can kick out to, so his biggest strength would be limited in some capacity. That's an interesting argument. I can feel you on that. But at the same time, Jokic doesn't need to kick out the shooters per se. If you double him and load up, he'll still carve you apart, like finding cutters and like finding guys around the rim. Like he can make those passes. He's 7 feet. He can see over the defense. So I'm not too tripping on that. I think Jokic should still be fine. We saw guys like, I don't know. There's been great passing big men though. Like Wilt Chamberlain still averaged 8 assists a game. I mean, that's Wilt Chamberlain, but he still averaged 8 assists a game with no spacing. Like he can still do it because Jokic can throw behind the back passes and shit. Like out of the post, like Jokic can do that. So I think he wouldn't be able to get as many assists, but I still think he'd be great. Embiid, he just wouldn't be. He'd be fantastic, but I just don't think he'd be as good. Drew's play down the stretch kind of reminded me of his play versus the Nets last year. He was kind of bad, but he made the biggest plays in the crucial time in the last minutes. Yeah, that's what it takes. Kyle takes his Bucks Celtics today. Was one of those don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion games. It's cliche, but it gave those vibes. That's facts. I get your whole point about Giannis staying in his lane, which is the paint, but those threes were huge. That's facts. I don't know if you feel the same way I do and if there's a way to do it, but maybe JT should have gotten a touch in one of those final 2 Celtics possessions. There definitely was a way. Smart could have been patient. Speaking of what I said, don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion. What other past games out of memory do you think fit that narrative? I like to think Houston Golden State Game 6, 2019. That's a good one. That's a good question. Putting me on the spot there. You'd have to give me a second. Tonight was a lot worse than 2012, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree, Cameron. He said Bucks 6 for 6 from deep in the fourth while the season attempt 1. That's because they went switch everything. They didn't get any clean looks. And that tells you they weren't driving to the basket enough, the Celtics. Drive and kick. They didn't have any driving kicks. JJ Baby Dick back at it. Facts. Why did you want the Celtics to win this series? Because I picked them. Yeah, because I picked them. And, I have a soft spot for them in ways because I went to school out there. All my friends are Celtics fans. Celtics and Lakers. But I never want the Celtics to win a championship, though, because they've already won so many. It's the same as the Lakers. Kyle's take says, maybe we don't agree, but I think this series is over. Like you said, I can't help but think what Giannis did to Phoenix last year, and I think Bucks close out. It's so hard to win in Milwaukee. Feel you. By the way, I'm so embarrassed with Golden State, wishing for a Game 6 win. I have this faint feeling we're getting Game 6 Clay, or maybe I'm delusional. Maybe. Game 6 Clay is back. BFNS23 says, Adams is a little problem for Draymond. God damn it. That reminds me, I forgot to talk about Adams. What am I doing? Remind me to say something about that tomorrow. If you're in the live tomorrow, please remind me to say something about that because I forgot to give him his flowers. He's made a huge difference. He's totally dominated them on the inside. Draymond gets mad knowing you just can't bully Adams and throw him around. I think Adams might be the X factor low-key. Could be right. He says, I love Ja's game, but he does play for himself. Cole Johnson says, not. Kazay says, Jason Tim from the volume said the Grizz are not a better team without Ja. They're a different team without Ja. Yeah, that makes sense. John, not that type of playmaker, really. It's a lot of playing off the bounce, finding the breakdown. But that's the thing, Cole. That's the thing with a lot of players in today's NBA. They play point guards. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't come up and move the ball anymore like a traditional point guard did. That's how I was taught to play. You come up and you pass the ball around first. And right now it's like you get the screen first and attack. But the thing is, Cole, you don't need to be so high usage in terms of every play has to run through you, even though you're the best player, if you have other guys that can make plays. You feel me? Because here's the thing, it could work well short term. Like the way you can see it is, why would we go to that guy when Ja is the more efficient option to get a good shot? Because rhythm matters. Again, a game of humans, not a game of chess pieces. And that shit works better down the line. Your role players will come in big for you when you need them in that way. BFNS23 says, I've got a feeling Golden State's going to lose. They're feeling themselves constantly bringing up championships they won 4 years ago. Better check their pride and lock the fuck in. Yeah, man, I feel you. Cole Johnson says those deficits were sort of crazy in the playoffs. Ja'Cory Marshall says, where that Celtics guy, ready to talk my shit. Okay, if he loses, we'll bring him back. BFNS23 says, now Memphis has a game plan and the confidence to execute it coming out in game 6. Curry's the best shooter of all time and supposedly the best point guard of all time. Oh, my God. And Golden State stands eyes. He had to show up. Let's not get to the greatest point guard talk anymore. That talk on this channel doesn't exist, okay? That's very disrespectful. Magic Johnson, I'm telling you this right now for everybody that needs to hear this. Magic Johnson is closer to Jordan than he is to Curry. I'm sorry. He is, bro. Magic is, like, ridiculous. Like, I mean, just don't even get me started, bro. Magic's the man. I love Magic. He's so incredible. Golden State Warriors embarrassment all started with the turnovers. Yep. Kyle Stakes says Suns Mavs, I think we'll go game 7. BFNS, hopefully Memphis can get it to a game 7. Nah, Warriors in 6. That was my pick. I need this series to end in 6. Hollow 702 says, I feel like we did see a level of immaturity from the Warriors tonight. I feel like they thought they knew what's up, but this Grizzlies team has an actual identity even without Ja. That's facts. Kyle Stakes says, I think Miami's more likely to win in Philly than Phoenix winning in Dallas. Okay, fair. Phoenix plays, he says the Leafs and Tampa series is going 7. Are you a Leafs fan, bro? You're definitely Scotty Barnes season. What's up, Dime? By the way, love playoff lives. Thank you, man. It's nothing like the playoffs, right? I love the support we're getting this playoffs. You guys have, even though it's been a slower year for views, you guys have really come through in the playoffs for sure. A couple hundred views every night. Not the same as last year, but we'll take it. We just got to build up our new fan base. The ones that actually care about my basketball analysis and not want to just hear me spam about the Clippers. I feel like a lot of views came last year because the Clippers were there. I feel like our views would be even higher if the Clippers and Lakers are still playing. The fact that you guys are tuning in for non-Clippers and Lakers says a lot about how far we've come. Cole Johnson says Bucks versus Celtics probably going 7. I just don't see Giannis losing that series. Interesting that you have the Giannis losing game 6. Olin Alvarez, sup, Dime? Haven't been here in a while. Much love. We miss you, Olin. Come on. Thanks for the money, bro. We miss you, though, bro. Come on. Need you more often. Keep at least for post. Are you watching my labs after? Phoenix plays these. Says, going back to the heart of a champion cliche. Moments, I think Raptors versus Celtics game 6, 2020 would fall into that category. Kyle Lowry masterclass. Oh, my God. Bubble talk. That's a nice one, Phoenix plays Z. Kyle Stakes says, how about Lakers Celtics game 7? Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't think the Celtics underestimated them, though. I think that was just a series of unfortunate events in a very, very tough game to score points in. And Rondo, he was getting in the lane, missed some chippies. Ray Allen, though, just broke as fuck. And the Lakers, again, that's a perfect example of a championship blown on no rebounds, no rings. That's a perfect example. When Kobe's out-rebounds Garnett, you knew with Perkins out, rebounding was going to be the biggest thing. And they did not. Gasol, he was probably the player of the game in that game. Pau Gasol. True on the Magic Man says just a guy on YouTube. Cole Johnson says, I just mean that he doesn't have the court vision like that, sort of like point guard. Well, you don't think so? I think John Morant's a great passer. He was a great passer at Murray State. He makes great passes here in Memphis. I don't know about that, man. We have to push back. Heat Bucks, East Gardens Finals, the trilogy says ZZ Visions. The heat is on, dent, dent, on the street, dent, dent, dent. We're going to be singing that tomorrow when Glenn Rivers goes home. Oh, my God. If Glenn Rivers goes home tomorrow and Plumber Jim, I don't give a shit about Embiid's injury, bro. We about to be up here in the live talking shit. Oh, my God. Glenn Rivers not making it out of the second round. Ooh, I need it. I need it. By the way, a super sticker. Wow, I don't even know what that means, but thanks, June 28th, July. I really appreciate you, bro. As usual. A lot of love tonight with the super chats, guys. Keep them coming. Could always use $1. Greg, what's up, my boy? I know Greg in real life. We met. He says, yeah, brother, always love your content. How was your first LAFC game? It was dope, dude. I actually really want to be part of that 3252. The live's coming out tomorrow. 9-minute live. I'm sorry, 9-minute vlog. And tomorrow, like 12 o'clock. So check it out. It was cool. The supporter section is dope. Sometimes wishing we got Clipper playoff vlogs, but we'll wait till next season. Trust me, so do I. Hell yeah, Kyle. Kyle's takes us. How about? Oh, perfect. Great one. Golden State versus OKC, game 6. That's a total don't underestimate the heart of a champion. Also, another one, 95 Rockets, game 1 against the Magic. If you guys, that's a must-watch game. Kenny Smith, oh my goodness, he was fucking lighting them up. That Nick Anderson missing the free throws, that fucked up his whole career. I don't know about his whole career, but he lost his confidence after that. And that whole series was blown right there. And the Rockets, you can't underestimate them. Can't underestimate that Kenny Smith. Do you have any issue with the All-NBA teams that have been leaked? I haven't heard about them. Greg Mahar says, also, I love that hat. Go, Kings, go. Yes, it's Kings season, baby. Throw some crowns in the chat. Throw some fucking crowns in there, my Kings fans. Come on. By the way, how do we have 21 people listening right now and like 3 people are typing? Come on, man. I need some comments. If you're listening and just not commented one thing, say hi at least. Come on. I want to hear from all of you who's here. Kyle's takes, thanks for educating us when it comes to the pass game. Needed it. Facts, bro. It's always going to happen here. Do you think Embiid's soft for yesterday's game and not No, he's not soft. He's playing under such, you know what injured that motherfucker is? No, man, that shit is hard. I give Embiid a lot of credit. He's not very durable, but that doesn't mean he's not tough. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? He's tough. He's tough. First team is Luka, Booker. Okay, thank God. Booker over Ja. I'm fucking with that. Luka, Booker, Tatum, Giannis, Jokic. Great. Wow. Embiid not finishing first team is nuts. You couldn't have him first team instead of freaking Tatum? Second team is Ja, Steph, KD, DeMar, and Embiid. That's cool. Everybody in there except for, how many games did KD play? KD was great, though. I don't have any problem with that. 95 Rockets. That's the year when he said don't underestimate the heart of the champion. Yes, that's Rudy Tomjanovich. By the way, I want to send out a shout out and very sad. I should have opened up the episode with this, but Bob Lanier. That's really sad, man. 73 years young. I know you haven't seen any Bob Lanier content on Dime Dropper yet, but it's coming. It will be coming because he's a rookie where I'm at right now. So you're going to see his whole career is just starting. So we're going to see a lot of it. The lefty, first pick out of St. Bonaventure in a very good draft. When we talk about great drafts of all time, by the way, I have no problem with that third team shit. I mean, LeBron, yeah, he did average 30, so we'll give it to him. He's the only one of these players that didn't make the playoffs, though. I just want to say that. What's up, Don? What's up, Daniel? And by the way, on Bob Lanier, I think Jimmy Butler's been a little bit better now, but you guys have played shittier teams. So, like, it's a hard one with Jason Tatum. We'll see how Jimmy Butler does against Giannis. Oh, Jimmy says a notable snub. Okay, he just missed a lot. Kid Justice. What's up, Kid Justice? Who's Kid Justice? I've never seen you before. I know you don't like Harden, but have you given up on him in the playoffs? I never believed in him. Anyway, I want to say this about Bob Lanier, though. That draft, guys, 1970, it's an amazing draft. Amazing. Rudy Tomjanovich was the second pick. And then you had Pistol Pete Maravich, third pick. Dave Cowens, Tiny Archibald. Like, think of how many top 75, like Dave Cowens, Tiny Archibald. You have top 75 snub kind of guys and Pistol Pete and Lanier. And then you have Charlie Scott and Dan Issel and Calvin Murphy. Like, think of how many players. And Jeff Petrie and John Johnson. These are a lot of players, man. For a 1970 draft, oof. Dan Issel and Charlie Scott didn't even play in the NBA for a bit. Cameron Aselli says, did they give word on Jaws Game 6 status? Jaws out for the playoffs, bro. What you mean? Phoenix plays. He says, is it crazy for me to say Braun doesn't deserve it this year over Jimmy? No, it's not. This motherfucker didn't play defense half the time. And he didn't close. Kyle Steak says, no, they said Jaws out / doubtful. Yeah, there you go. Any last comments or questions? You guys, we have 22 of you in here. You got to have more than this. Man, I'm so thirsty, bro. Fuck. Nothing. Pressure's high just to stay alive because the heat is on. We're going to be singing that tomorrow. I need. It's regarding Magic. How overrated is Gobert? In what sense? I think he's a little overrated, but I also think by certain people he's kind of underrated. I don't like him, though. Yeah, I'm going live tomorrow. I want to beat the Bucks so bad. I still haven't gotten over being swept, says CZ Visions. I feel you. I'm very anxious. What's the Magic question? Oh man, I need to be able to grill Glenn tomorrow. I need it. I said, how many times did I tell you guys that Glenn Rivers is not getting out of the second round ever again? I'm telling you. I gotta look at my old tweets with Glenn tomorrow. Have him on deck. I gotta have him ready, bookmarked. How good do you think would Magic would be in the modern era, and where you roughly rank him in this era? Oh my god, are you talking about with no adaptation? And what year of Magic are we talking about? That's my two questions. What year of Magic? Hypothetically, and is he no adaptations? He'd still be pretty fucking nasty. I don't know if he peak Magic. Oh my god, he'd be amazing. He'd be really fucking good. Do I think he'd be the best player in the NBA? Probably not, just because the way he plays is a little different. Not in terms of like the shooting and all that. Just the dribbling. He still dribbles kind of pronated. In this era, he'd be able to carry so much more. He even carried a little bit back then, but he would get to carry more. I don't know. I think he'd be pretty amazing, though. Low key. He'd be amazing. I think he'd be MVP candidate, like best player in the league conversation type of deal. Like he would just, in terms of offense, I mean, he would go nuts. Peak Magic can shoot. So like if you're talking about peak Magic, he can shoot the ball. So yeah, good luck. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you want to switch everything on him, he's going to the post. Like he's gonna fuck you over in the post. 1987, bro. 1987 Magic. Like, and then plus in the fast break, you can do your fucking take foul garbage. That's the thing. They're gonna do all these take fouls, but then he's gonna try to get you in the bonus. He'll try to. Thing about Magic is who are his teammates too. Like if you have a decent interior force, he's gonna make them go to the post. No take fouls. No take fouls will be, Dimes basketball. Hey, NV, what's good? He said Dimes basketball IQ. Then Rudy Gigi Gobert. The way Shaq and Gobert's back and forth is hilarious. Like imagine Magic in a modern drive and kick offense. Yeah, well, he could kill. It's Magic. Are you afraid of pace and space? Magic is pace. He's walking pace. Are you afraid of blowing a 3-1 at Kyle? Hey, Dime, just a hypothetical question, but would you be down for the Clippers trying to acquire De'Aaron Fox? Reggie was slide to the bench. Who are we giving up for him? Here's the thing about De'Aaron. I love him, but he's one of those players that I'm just not sure if going from a number one option to number 3 in 1 year is going to be good enough. Oh, by the way, guys, I have to end the broadcast because my computer's going to die. I'm sorry, guys. Good night, guys. 1 hour and 6 minutes is good.